A tale of ignored warnings, failed investigations, and a system that protects institutions over children. Andrew McGann's teaching career reveals how America's schools have become a revolving door for predators. This is the story of how America's education system became a revolving door for predators, and how one family paid the ultimate price for our failure to protect children. On July 26, 2025, Clinton Brink, 43, and his wife Kristen, 41, were hiking with their two young daughters at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. They were only half a mile into the park when the unthinkable happened. A stranger approached them on the trail and launched a vicious attack with a knife. Clinton fought desperately to protect his family, while Kristen rushed their 7- and 9-year-old daughters to safety. But Kristen couldn't leave her husband behind. She made sure her girls were safe, then ran back to help the man she loved. Both parents died that day, stabbed to death by a complete stranger. The little girls survived and made it back to camp to alert authorities. They're now being cared for by family members, but they'll carry this trauma for the rest of their lives. But here's what makes this story even more horrifying. The man who killed their parents wasn't some random drifter or career criminal. He was Andrew James McGann, a 28-year-old elementary school teacher who had been working with children for years. And the signs that something was deeply wrong with McGann had been there all along. So, how did a dangerous predator end up teaching America's children? McGann's teaching career started in 2022 when he was hired at Donald Elementary School in Flower Mound, Texas. From day one, parents noticed something was wrong. Sierra Markham's son was in McGann's 4th grade class, and the boy quickly became uncomfortable with his teacher's behavior. McGann was giving female students extra treats and keeping some of them alone in his classroom during recess. But the moment that changed everything came when Markham's son overheard McGann tell one of the little girls something that should have ended his career immediately. "If you were older, I would love to marry you." A grown man telling a 9 or 10-year-old girl that he wanted to marry her. Markham's son came home crying that day, and his mother immediately contacted the school. But she wasn't the only parent raising concerns. Multiple families complained about McGann's inappropriate behavior toward female students. They used words like grooming behaviors to describe what they were witnessing. These weren't vague complaints or misunderstandings. These were specific documented concerns about a teacher's inappropriate conduct with children. So what did Louisville Independent School District do with all these complaints? They launched an investigation in spring 2023 and found concerns related to classroom management, professional judgment, and student favoritism. McGann was placed on administrative leave while the district looked into the allegations. But here's where the system failed spectacularly. Despite finding legitimate concerns about McGann's behavior, the district allowed him to resign quietly in May 2023. No criminal charges were filed. No notation was made on his permanent record. He was free to apply for teaching jobs anywhere in the country. This is what education experts call passing the trash, allowing problem teachers to simply move from district to district instead of facing real consequences. And that's exactly what happened with McGann. After leaving Texas, he got hired at Sand Springs Public Schools in Oklahoma, where he taught until May 2025. The Oklahoma district said he passed all background checks because there was nothing on his record. Remember, he had never been charged with a crime, so legally he was clean. Then McGann resigned from Oklahoma to take yet another teaching job, this time in Arkansas at Springdale Public Schools. He was supposed to start work there in August 2025, but before he could begin his new job, he committed double murder. Brandon Hall, a member of the Texas State Board of Education, puts it bluntly, the ball was dropped here. Hall explains that because McGann was never charged with a crime, nothing appeared on his teaching record. This made it incredibly easy for him to get hired again and again. But McGann's journey from school to school isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a much larger pattern that's playing out in districts across America. Between 2009 and 2018, 765 misconduct reports were filed with California's Teacher Credentialing Commission. But disciplinary action was only taken 39% of the time. That means hundreds of teachers with serious misconduct allegations simply slipped through the cracks. A 2016 USA Today investigation found that about 9,000 disciplined teachers were missing from the National Teacher Misconduct Database. Think about that number. 9,000 teachers with disciplinary problems who weren't being tracked. How many of them were still working with children? How many had moved from district to district like McGann? The numbers only improved after media attention forced states to do better. The number of disciplined educators reported to the national database tripled immediately after USA Today's reporting. But this means the problem was even worse than anyone realized. And McGann was one of those teachers who slipped through those very cracks we just talked about, moving from Texas to Oklahoma to Arkansas, leaving a trail of warning signs that nobody connected until it was too late. After the murders at Devil's Den, McGann led police on a 5-day manhunt. Security cameras had captured his vehicle, leaving the park with tape over the license plate. Photos from other hikers helped create a composite sketch that led to hundreds of tips from the public. Police finally tracked him down at Lupita's beauty salon in Springdale, Arkansas, where he was getting a haircut. The salon's surveillance video shows McGann being arrested while still wearing his barber's cape. His hairstylist, Adriana Ruiz Avalos, said she immediately felt something was wrong with him. "As soon as I saw him, I had an eerie feeling about him," she told reporters. "He looked soulless."
As soon as I saw him, something felt off about him.
After his arrest, McGann confessed to the murders and admitted he didn't know the Brink family. It was a completely random attack, which makes it even more terrifying. Arkansas State Police Major Stacy Rhodes called it one of the most heinous crimes she'd seen in 27 years, especially because of how random it was. McGann's confession closed the case, but it opened up bigger questions about what this means for every parent dropping their child off at school. First, there's no comprehensive national database that tracks teacher misconduct across state lines. This means a teacher who resigns under investigation in Texas can easily get hired in Oklahoma or Arkansas. Second, the legal standard for taking action is set too high. Because McGann was never criminally charged, he could pass background checks indefinitely. Third, school districts have financial and reputational incentives to handle problems quietly rather than creating public records that might lead to lawsuits. Texas has tried to address some of these issues with Senate Bill 571, which was signed in May 2025. The law expands access to do not hire registries and gives the Texas Education Agency more authority to investigate misconduct. But as Brandon Hall points out, no matter what systems we have in place, our ISDs really have to do their due diligence in the hiring process to really dig into their background and make sure that our students are protected. The problem is that due diligence often means making phone calls to previous employers who may not be legally allowed to share information about investigations that didn't result in criminal charges. The Andrew McGann case exposes how America's broken school system puts children at risk by allowing dangerous teachers to move between districts unchecked. Until we demand real reform, more families could face the same devastating loss as the Brinks. What do you think? Should teachers with misconduct investigations be permanently banned from working with children? Have you ever had concerns about a teacher at your child's school? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this investigation opened your eyes to the flaws in our education system, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that impact your family's safety. Ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest investigations. Together, we can demand the changes our children deserve.